NFR Extra is a weekly podcast that focuses on the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo and features icons that embody the rodeo and Western lifestyle. And now here are your hosts, Nevada Caldwell and Rockin' Robbie Hodges.
Robbie.
Hey, buddy.
Man, hey, where are you at right now?
I am actually holed up, with everything going on. I'm holed up at Lake Martin down here in near Alexander City, Alabama. A good friend of mine, a lot of people know him, Jerry Todd, rodeo announcer from the Southeast. They've got a beautiful lake house here, and we're doing our social distancing on a lake right here. And tell you what, it's if I got to be somewhere, this is great. I'm getting a little me time. And I hope everybody is, it could be way worse.
Yeah, no.
I'm not gonna lie.
No doubt about it. Where are you at, Brylan? I know you're here.
I am currently at home. I guess you would call it the Bentley Ranch, chilling in our office.
Nice. Well, obviously.
What about you? Where are you?
I'm at home here in Vegas, with everything else, just like y'all. We're making what we can and doing what we can and keeping our heads up. Yeah, it's different times, but hey, you know what? Cool thing about technology, we get to keep this podcast rolling.
Absolutely. So what's your routine right now? Nevada, what do you do during the day now that family time, obviously. How's that going? So
it's kind of weird. I'm ADHD, so I'm a little bit all over the place a lot of times, but right now I've built a little pattern. I get up in the morning, coffee. I've literally been doing yoga every morning. It helps. It keeps kind of the mindset. I normally don't do yoga, so this is the more interesting part for me. And then, dive into work, go for a walk with the family, take the dog out.
Good.
Just keep flowing like everybody else, man, and trying to absolutely avoid human contact and just doing my part.
Yeah, being like it was back in the day.
Yeah.
Where we actually found our families.
Yeah.
And I think, what about you, B? What's your daily?
Oh, my day has been pretty easy. Just answer emails, walk down the hallway to the office, we call it, getting back into a workout routine and loving life.
Nice. Hey, I know everybody didn't tune in to hear about us, right? But it's always good to hear about us, right?
You never know. Maybe somebody else is doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's true.
With your family.
Yeah.
And we got some great guests, don't we?
Yes, we do, Robbie.
Cool stuff for you guys.
We got a young man from Louisiana that's on this episode. A good friend of yours, right, Rob? You guys down there in the Southeast world or whatever you call it, SEC land, is that right?
Yeah, that's our one foe of each other. We don't always agree on each other's football team, but we're still buddies.
Yeah, world champion tie-down roper Shane Hanchey, man, is on the show. And we dive in all kinds of things with Shane, right?
Yes, we did. We divvied into horse training to, his traveling, to injury, just everything.
Well, hey, what's the business that he does? What does he sell right now? He's got this side business. Yeah, crawfish.
Yeah,
crawfish boiled?
And it's not boiled crawfish, it's boiled.
Yeah, boiled.
Ball. B-A-L-L-E-D. Ball crawfish.
It's his hustle job.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. Talk about the Cowboy Journal. Man, there's all kinds of things we dive in with him. And man, he's a sports fan.
Yeah, he's an octopus. He's got hands everywhere and stuff, and I enjoyed talking to him, and I think you'll enjoy that episode.
Yeah, no doubt.
The different stuff about him.
And, obviously, Brian, we thank you for hooking this one up. This was Anthony Lucia. Man, boy, that guy can talk.
Anthony is one of my favorite people to work with, that's for sure. He's done a great job on Ride TV, and I'm imagining he mentioned quite a bit of it, but...
Oh, yeah. But so in the conversation with Anthony, we go into all kinds of his trick roping to his dad, to his brother, his whole family, right, that's involved in rodeo. And man, it's just, he can talk. Obviously, that's what he gets paid to do. Ooh.
Yep.
He had plenty to say.
Everything went back to his dad too. I thought that was because his dad was such a showman. He was a gentleman showman, I guess is how you would say it. He's like a Ringling Brothers type of.
That's a good point.
The last great showman, and I don't know how else to describe it.
But if his dad. You're right, Robbie. But and also to add to that, if you think about what Anthony's doing today, Tommy Joe, the family, what his dad did, it's all part about making the rodeo, just that other additive to the rodeo besides what happens on the dirt, even though those guys are on the dirt. But it adds everything that is the part of that. And, well, for instance, because he was in the business and his dad has access to all these rodeo people. Remember when he said, he started team or just wanted to start team roping because he had I was like, I can use the rope. He had access to nothing but world champions around him because his dad knew all these people. So people don't get that, man. I mean, like when you're around rodeo and if your dad is attached to that many folks that are high end in rodeo, you get access to some pretty good stuff if you want to get better at something, and specifically team roping.
Absolutely, we got to hear a lot about that.
Well, hey, we know you're probably at home or riding in your truck somewhere in your community or in the country somewhere, and hopefully staying away from people until we can figure this thing out. But until then, enjoy this episode, and we're going to keep them coming. Yeah,
we're your daily dose of surreality out here in the world.
Yes, we are. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm 8-time world champion bull rider Donnie Gay, and you're listening to NFR Extra.
All right, Robbie, man, we just got to keep this thing rolling. We're trying to create our own curve here, and flatten that thing out, man. With the conversation and ease people's fears. Not saying that the rodeo fans, that's where they're at right now. I just think that they're missing rodeo, and hopefully, with the people that we bring on here, it provides a little comfort, man. They get to listen to the folks that they see either on TV or in person. And this individual is no different, right? We're sitting here with
what a cool guy we get to hang out with. This
very cool guy.
This is my buddy. Sitting in my trailer, hanging out, drinking beer.
World champion tie down roper, Shane Hanchey, man. Welcome to the NFR podcast, Shane.
Man, thank y'all. It's been a long wait. I've been listening to y'all for a while now, and finally got the invite to join the show, man. I feel privileged.
Yeah,
man, we're glad to have you.
Yeah, well, hey, you're no second to nothing, man. I mean, I remember seeing you in those awards. You pulled in your own journalism award, and everything you got going on there. I know we're gonna dive in and talk about it, but how is everything going for you right now? How are you doing with the news that's been handed to all of us, and specifically the rodeo business?
It's kind of day by day right now. We really don't know what we're gonna get to go to and what we don't get to go to. So we're just literally taking it day by day, and I mean, the health and safety of everybody is at the forefront, no matter what, rodeo or no rodeo, baseball or no baseball type deal. And at the end of the day, we're trying to contain this thing, and if we do our parts, and we'll be back at it, with short time coming. But luckily, I have a side business. I sell boiled crawfish on the side. It's a little boil and go trailer, and it's easy for them to come and get boiled crawfish, boiled shrimp, and grab it to go. And so that's what I'm going to be focusing on the next 4 to 6 weeks is slinging some crawfish, Robbie.
Nice.
Well, bring me a big old bag. I mean, I want a blue bag, 50-pounder.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, that's the Louisiana stuff.
Where are you holed up right now? Where are you?
Well, I'm in Texas. I'm in Carmine. Me and my fiance live over here. We're right in between Houston and Austin. And in between Brenham and Giddings. So we're right on 290, and it's a great location for our food trailer. Bunch of traffic, on 290.
Right. You know what Giddings is, don't you?
What's that?
I learned this. I've done that Giddings rodeo a lot, and this is an interesting factoid about Giddings. The Giddings McDonald, they're right there on 290, is the halfway point between divorced parents from Houston to Austin. You want to see some good fights, go there on Sunday afternoon when it's time to bring the kids back. Because I have some funny stuff going down right there.
I believe you.
That's halfway. So if you're bored during all this, go to the McDonald's right there in the Buc-ee's, and you'll see some really good fights right there.
Be good watching.
Hey, let's
and we like a good fight.
Let's talk about Shane's success. Look, because we've been talking about a lot of, 2019 for a lot of individuals come on the show, and some had good, some had bad. But man, Shane, you had a pretty good year. World standing. World standings second place, right? NFR standings were 7th. Your NFR earnings. This is the one that really sticks out, right? $142,635. Man, that's a pretty good run for 10 days.
Right.
How you feeling since that 19? And I know you came up short, man, and a lot of people did as our conversation, but how you feeling about that 19? Because that NFR was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's two different things for me. After the 10th go round, if you'd have told me that, it was going to be 7-1 and split the round, I'd have said I like my chances to win a gold buckle. To come up $1,180 short for a second gold buckle, man, it really did put the sting on me. Just because these things, I was fortunate enough to get one in 2013, and I was so close in 19 that they're so hard to come by. And the saying "one is never enough" is so true, man, and it did sting for a while, for a good while. And then I, kind of let it go. Understood that everything happens for a reason. It wasn't meant to be type deal. And look at my NFR and go back to each round. And there's a few nights that I did drop the ball. Probably could have won a buckle, but I tied 6 calves faster than 7-9. I won 3 go rounds. I won 142,000, and I didn't win nothing hardly in the average. I might have won a 6th or 7th place check, and so I did pretty much everything from battling back. I was at the top of the top. I won the first round. I've won the first round 3 times before, so I know the feeling. And then the very next night, I missed my calf on both loops. So immediately went out of the average. Immediately went out of the world title race. This, that, and the other, and told myself that I had to battle back, and that's what I did. Was the next 8 nights I won good money. The majority of the nights, and that was what was cool for me was. Being out of it in the second go round and battling back and winning a lot of money. So that was pretty cool.
So, and that's well, and man, I mean, watching that whole 10 days, the competition was fierce, man. I mean, like it ended with a rookie winning, right? Like that, Haven Medjin, and we've had him on the show, smart kid, man. I mean, you got competition for years, Shane, that's for sure. But, man, I mean, when you look at kind of the way that thing ended, not saying that in the rodeo business, nobody gives their all. Everybody gives their all. What's interesting is when you give your all, how much more do you have above your all to give? And that's what man, you guys all gave way more than your all that entire 10 days, man. It was fun to watch. I mean, it sucks it didn't work out for you that way.
Tie-down roping right there. That was what's cool about it. It was like the old schools with the Fred and the Codys and it was
Yeah.
I think that's the best NFR I've ever watched, to be honest with you, in every event. I think last year was as good at NFR. Shane probably doesn't think so right now.
Yeah.
He's $1,100 from thinking that, but
yeah, I agree. I know
it was good.
Well, think about this too, Shane. Okay, so you were 10 years. You've been 10 years, right? And not saying that let's go for your 11th, 12th, 13th, keep them going. But let's remove your title run in 13. What was probably your most favorite NFR? With like the one that you can remember. Not about winning, but you just felt it all the way through. You just left good, even though you didn't win the thing. I mean, is there one that sticks out in your head?
I mean, it's hard to say not the first one, right? I mean, you dream about going there, and you dream about winning, and I know you said title aside, but the last night, that was. I feel like that was so long ago. That was in 2010. I was in my room at the MGM, and they called me. My hotel room phone rang, and I'm like, "Who the hell?" And so I answer it, and it's somebody with the PRCA, and they say, "Hey, if you was, tonight's the 10th round, if this was to happen and you was to win a gold buckle, you need to meet, so and so at the end of the rodeo to escort you to the red carpet." This is when they did the red carpet deal, and they had the mirage deal and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I hang the phone up, and I'm like, holy smokes, I got a chance to win this thing, But I was 19 years old. I was Haven. I mean, I was a little younger in Haven, and it's just pretty cool. That was one of my coolest moments. And honestly, I say it year after year, and I tell the young kids this that are going to their first one. There's not a grand entry better in the world, and there's no brighter lights brighter in the world than in the Thomas and Mack, each night. when you go in for that grand entry, carrying your flag, carrying your state flag, man. For me, Robbie, you know, me carrying the Louisiana flag, I'm all about Louisiana and what it stands for, and to be able to carry that thing year after year, it's pretty cool, man. That'll burn a bright fire in me for as long as I can compete at it.
Shane, there's no I
love to watch you win. That's one of my favorite things. You're one of my favorite people.
He's a smooth operator, man.
I never see you. I know, and I never see you where we're not having fun, slapping five. Of course, we can't right now with this virus thing, but you know, you are always a bright spot. I've never seen Shane where we weren't, hey man, what's going on? Hey, what are you doing? It's crazy, you know. And it just makes my day when my buddies are at these rodeos and stuff. I can't wait to get back going. I swear.
Hey, I want to bring up something about Shane.
I miss y'all.
Yeah, what about Shane's love for Louisiana? And I know this, Shane. I follow you on Twitter, personally as well as obviously with NFR. And you share your love for sports, definitely Louisiana sports. I'll bring this up, man, because I thought it was pretty funny. It's just me being a sports guy, more of the city dude. But you, this is right after Louisiana had won the national championship, and you were chiming in on something. I don't know, one of the posts, and one of the dudes called you. Man, I can't remember what he was. It was they called you a goat roper or something like that, and it was like all the rodeo fans.
World champion goat roper.
Yeah.
No, he called me a goat roper, and I said, make sure you put world champion in front of that if you're going to call me that.
Yes.
And come to find out, it was. I guess he used to play for Texas Tech, and I never said anything bad about, you know, Patrick Mahomes or anybody like that. He said something about a bowl game that Texas Tech, when they played LSU, was in, and it was Mahomes playing LSU. He just said, you know, people don't remember when Patrick Mahomes was leading Texas Tech back against LSU. And I'm like, we blew them out, like, and I never dude, it was just like. I was like, are you sure? And then he'd come at me, and I was like, man. And then I had people calling me, hey, that dude used to be a walk-on at Texas Tech, this and that. I'm like, sorry, I just feel like I was in the right. Like, I really try not to say stuff on Twitter unless I'm, like, factually correct, especially about sports. And this dude was coming at me, and I was like, okay. So, no, it's all in fun. I don't really know.
I know.
No, but it's fun when, like, I like it from being, like, the city folk, you know, the outside rodeo fan guy. Like, when I see you get pulled into a sport conversation, like, oh, yes, beautiful.
Yeah, you know, and that's, I don't know. I'm such a diehard LSU fan. You know, so this year I went to the LSU Alabama game at Alabama, and then I went to the national championship game. And, man, I mean, aside from having a great NFR, and aside from, if I'd have won the gold buckle, this would have been the greatest year of my life by far with LSU going undefeated, 15-0. But it was still pretty cool, man. I've been at Bryant-Denny before in Tuscaloosa. Robbie, you would know. And leaving there when we get beat, it's the worst place in the world to leave there when you get beat. But, man, I've been there this year, and we beat them. And it was the best place in the world when I left. But, honestly, I was kind of bummed out when we were leaving the stadium. There was so many Alabama fans going, man, I hope y'all win it all. I hope Joe Burrow wins the Heisman, this and that. And I'm like, it's kind of bummed out. I was wanting them to kind of.
I know. I was ready to fight.
I was pumped up. Like the dude sitting behind me, he was all game, just ridiculing me. And then I kept telling him, look at the scoreboard. And then I looked back during the third quarter, and he was gone. I was like, man, I can't talk to this guy no more.
I know. You know, I'm just an SEC guy. I just love it. And to our friends in the Big 12 and all those, we're going to show y'all. And then it's always, you know, that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, we showed them that in the Oklahoma LSU playoff game. Yeah. That wasn't fun.
Well, hey, let's talk about something else of yours, man. How did Cowboy Journal, how did all this come together, man? Because I love it. How did this, give us your pitch.
Yeah, I mean, it ties into sports so much. I mean, I'm such a sports fan. I was reading the Players Tribune so much that Derek Jeter started, and you know, the way it was formatted, you know, in their athletes' own words, and it made you just feel so much closer to the athlete, you know, like when you hear Derek Jeter talking a story, when you hear Richard Sherman talking about how he hates Thursday night football because of the wear and tear on their body that it does. Mm-hmm. And when you read that coming from Richard Sherman, you're like, man,
oh yeah,
I really don't like Richard Sherman, but he seems to be like he's got his head on straight. So I got to brainstorming one night after the 2016 NFR, and I thought that'd be cool if we could, put some articles on the Players Tribune. And I was like, you know what? Let's just start our own website. And so I got it rolling, and we launched December 17, and was lucky enough to win the award last year for PRCA Journalist of the Year. And that was a total shock, So it was pretty cool the way everything got going, and I've had nothing but great compliments on it, So it's been pretty cool.
So how did
that help too much with like sponsorships and stuff like that? I mean, is that doing that kind of stuff? Is that
well, not for me, because from day one I said, look, guys, if I want to try to get on board with Cowboy Journal, I don't want to try to get on board with Hanchey. Just like my ball crawfish stuff. People don't know it's mine because I want people to come eat because the food's good, not because it's mine. And I want people to come to the website, because of the quality of the articles, not because it's me and because of myself. So I've always tried to keep that separate, as far as sponsorships. But we've had some great sponsors. We kicked it down. We shut it off. Long story short, we were just going to the same sponsors, getting the same money from them, just like the whole rodeo world's in. It's such a little bubble, and we just couldn't get any big time partners to go along with us. So I shut it down in January of this year. The Cowboy Journal, it was something we had to do. So I'm holding on to the name, holding on to the likeness, holding on to the social media in case something comes up to get it back going. But as of right now, we're on a coronavirus break with the Cowboy Journal.
Yeah.
Everybody.
No, but it's a brilliant idea, and I personally think you're on the right path, and I get it, man. It's tough, paying the bills, and how do you kind of keep things floating?
For sure.
Man, that sponsorship's a whole other job itself.
Yes,
without a doubt.
And honestly, like when I started the Cowboy Journal, I did not even want to think about making money, and then obviously it kind of hit me pretty quick. Like, hey, well, I got to generate some revenue to keep my writers going, to keep my social media person, to keep my, you know what I mean? So one thing led to another, and I was like, I got to start making some money at this somehow. And that's when the marketing deal come in, and like you said, the marketing does tough.
Oh, I live it.
In our industry, it's such a closed, demographic.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. It seems like
Pepsi ain't going to jump in there.
No, for sure.
That makes sense. Hey, Shane, so besides, obviously with the crawfish, everything going on there, keeping you busy, but you seem like a tactician, man. So what are you doing to, keep that blade sharp with your craft, with roping? So what are you doing?
Every day, roping every day. Working out.
Are you really?
Yeah, roping and working out. And I've got, we're headed to a jackpot right now. Yeah, don't tell nobody, I guess. It's not going to be no more than 50 people, but
it's 9 people.
Yeah, there you go. In Seguin, Texas. Man, we've been roping every day. Honestly, just like I told you earlier, it's kind of a day-by-day thing. We kind of thought we were going to go down to Mercedes, this and that, and then they canceled it. And then so I've got more calves right now sitting in my house than I have probably since before the finals. And I've got a slew of horses around there, and I'm roping every day. Every day it's dry with knock on wood. It's been good. I'm roping. I'm practicing, trying to get better because I know somebody else is out there doing the same thing.
Doing the same, you bet.
Oh, yeah.
How's Jason doing? Do you get to see your brother any since you've been down, or is he home, or where's he been?
No, he's down in Florida. I haven't seen him. They got a lot of mama cows and that ranch down there, 4,000 acres and stuff. So he stays pretty busy.
I bet he does. What a cowboy! He's such a cool guy.
The definition,
I was introduced to you, being my friend, through him, and being down there in South Florida. Now, I'll tell you right now, Nevada, he knows swamp bramers.
Man, Shane, that blew my mind when I learned about those folks. Whoa.
Oh, I was crazy.
Swamp framers. Yeah, he knows about them. And let me tell you something. It's rope or die down there right now.
Yes, sir.
Wait.
All the time.
The mama cows.
You could set up your own rodeo, man. You could be roping alligators, riding them. I mean, like you could do a whole different new rodeo down there.
It is. That was our first episode talking about with Clayton Sellers down there and riding the swamp bramers. Nevada, what is a swamp bramer? And it didn't take you long to figure out.
Oh, man. Alligators nipping at their hooves, man. I'm like, what the heck? No, man. That's crazy.
Do you remember, you'll appreciate this thing. Do you remember when we used to go to Okeechobee? You were very young then, but Nevada, they used to have slick head roping. Do you remember when they used to have slick head roping?
What is that?
At Okeechobee?
Well, how does that work?
Mama cows. It's you're roping mama cows, and these mean mama cows, and they're muleys, and they call it slick head or muley roping. And if you didn't catch, your header died.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna tell you, they wasn't no dragging them. You were that slack in that header rope, wasn't it? They were coming.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, how much does something like that weigh? Like that's got to be.
400, 600.
Jesus,
they were
man.
Weight, probably, weren't they? I mean,
yeah, at least, maybe more. Yeah.
Yeah. And let me tell you, they bellered and they were hot. You know, the guy that I felt the most sorry for, and that's not the header. It's the guy pushing them cows up when it got time, you know, when they had to pull them through that alley. Oh, and the guy, pushing them out. Well, you didn't push them out there. You just hope they win because nobody wants to get in the box with them.
Well, but I always think, I think when I look at Shane, man, I mean, Shane, you weighed, 165, 50, something like that, right? Maybe.
150, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're built like a boxer, man, right? Like a good middleweight boxer or something like that. Yeah. But, man, what you guys do, and this is still fascinating. I mean, no matter what, there's so much about the rodeo that fascinates me. But I think when we talk about something happens under 4 seconds, well, it's not just something. It's you ride, you rope, you jump off, flip, tie, done.
Yeah.
Under 4 seconds. Like I
less than 8 seconds worth of a bareback ride.
Yeah.
Done,
yeah.
And on the average, man, I mean, this is more than a human being you're flipping. I mean, man, that's you guys don't get enough love on the athletic side of what you guys do at all.
It's the most intricate event in rodeo, I think, because you can't just be an athlete and do it. You know, you can get by like that on bulldogging and other stuff, but you got to learn how to ride a horse before you can really win, and then riding a horse and then doing all the athlete type stuff after. It's very, very intricate. Man, we take pride in being as good as we are. And, nowadays it's changed. You know, there's a lot of training going on athletically. You know, I do a lot of ladder drills and
Nice.
plyometrics and everything now. You know, it used to just be go rope and have you a couple of beers and go back and eat a steak and then do it again the next day. It's not quite like that anymore. I guess with everything evolving, you know. There's still some people that do that.
Hey, man, Shane, they have them in sports too, right? I mean, you know, like in the ball sports or the field sports.
Exactly.
Dude shows up, you know, he was drinking all night before until 10 in the morning. He can go out and throw it. Yeah, man, seriously. Go out and hit 3 home runs. Get on base. Seriously, it's just those people drive me crazy, man. I'm like, dude, you know, those are imagine if you actually put that craft to product, you know, something productive, man. You'd be even better than what you are now. Yeah. That's the crazy part.
They used to say John Kruk would do that. First base with the Phillies. He would. Over, they'd sit around and drinking beer and then sleep on the workout table, and they'd be at the ballpark the next morning.
So Robbie, Kruk was here in Vegas. He was with the Padres back in the day when for our minor league team.
My hero.
Yeah, he used to go watch him in Cashman, man. And so try to imagine John Kruk playing baseball in Las Vegas.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he enjoyed it. That was back in the 80s. He ate it up. So what? Okay. All right. So I know we're on hiatus. We're waiting. Where do things look for you going forward here, Shane? I mean, like how do you feel about what's coming around the corner? What do you got to do to get back in December, you know, for the NFR? What's in your mind right now?
Yeah, you know, I didn't have the winter I wanted, you know, kind of had some horse troubles and didn't really have the winter I wanted. Luckily, still got about 16,001, so it could be way worse type of a deal, you know. But for my standards, it was very, very subpar for a winter. And now, you know, not being able to go to Houston, not being able to go to Austin, that put a big damper on my rejuvenation of my winter, So I'm gonna go, and when they do give us the go ahead, our rodeo count is 100. I don't think we can get to them now with all these rodeos canceling and no telling when they're gonna start back up. So
Right.
it's gonna be all systems go. I'm gonna have 2 or 3 horses out there and a couple rigs, and somebody's got to get within range of Shad Mayfield.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's possible, but I'm gonna damn sure give it a go. That's for sure.
Yeah, that guy's on fire.
Yeah, that kid is a phenom. I know. So where were you? What was the last place? Did you get to go to Houston at all? I mean, were you in the
Nope. I was in the very next group that was supposed to go, and we got the news the day before.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I didn't get to go to Houston. Obviously, Austin, stuff like that. But yeah, so I've just kind of been hanging around since the American, waiting to go.
I guess that was the last place I saw you was Kansas City at the WCR. We were talking about
Yeah.
that. We had no idea, did we? We were all sitting there. Hey, let's
isn't that crazy?
Whammy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
kind of scary, ain't it?
Very surreal, man.
It is. I know. Who are you going to go with this year? I mean, once we were talking about this, and we talked about it. Let me tell you, if there's a rodeo that's open anywhere, I might even enter. I'm so ready to rodeo right now and see my buddies. I've never been so ready to go to a rodeo. And who you gonna go with this year? I mean, what?
Well, I don't know. I don't know yet. Yeah, I try to. I gotta find. We'll just kind of have to see. Like I said, when we'll be able to get back. And I go to Canada up there. I go up there a lot. And I've had great luck up there. So.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to implement that into my schedule, but they've got the border shut down right now for only Canadian citizens. So, that's another thing we're going to have to kind of wait and see. But I'm definitely going to go up there to Canada and come back and forth quite a bit because there's so many good rodeos up there.
Yeah, but hey, Shane,
Yeah.
what you're I'm looking at here, 4-time Canadian champ. I mean, you 12, 15, 18, 19. So yeah, I'd highly suggest you go up there.
Yeah, I've been to the CFR 5 times, and I've been fortunate to win it 4 out of 5 years. So, I really do like it up there, man. There's a lot of good rodeos, and there's a lot of good rodeo guys, and calves are always good. But what's crazy to me is how many the fans It's just hockey and rodeo up there. You know what I mean? Like they don't care about football, they don't care about baseball. It's hockey, and then after hockey, it's rodeo. You know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, on us, like
so
during the NFR, so because I'm a big Twitter. I mean, I manage all our social media, but one of my loves is Twitter, just because man, it's just a conveyor belt of stuff. And anyways, when we post out there the winners, right? Any Canadians, like right when Zeke had won, holy crap, man! If I don't, the fans jump on that thing like wildfire, and they let you know Canadians won. Here we are. I mean, their fandom is crazy good, man, and it's a good breath of fresh air, man, from rodeo where it's not just Americans. I like it, We need more of that around the world, but it's starting. But yeah, the Canadian fandom is pretty nuts. Man, so this is great, Shane, man. We got to have you on more often. You are a great conversation.
Yeah, man, I'm
and
ready.
You got some good
it's
info
nice
too.
to have a social media guru,
Yeah.
or somebody that understands social media. And
he gets it,
somebody
man.
Like with Casey, when he was on there with us, and stuff. This is good stuff.
We geek out, man. And Robbie's like, I don't want to be talking about this stuff right now. This is geek stuff right now. Social media, digital media.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm learning it.
No, I know you are. You're doing great, man. Absolutely.
We have the best time with this.
I got
Honestly,
a question
we
for you.
didn't know how this was going to go, Shane.
Yeah, usually we do this in
Honestly,
studio, and
wait.
I got to look at Robbie for a whole 2 days, like right in front of me. He's
lucky.
Yeah, very. But hey, Shane, how are you feeling about your football team, man? So you're keeping your boy, right, Drew? Is he sticking around?
Yeah.
Nice.
Just signed a 2-year deal,
Nice.
and kind of went user friendly on it to help us and some other.
Yeah.
We gotta find another receiver, man.
Yeah, that's true, man.
We need a good number 2 to complement Mike Thomas, and
He's a
Jared
beast.
Cook really came along nice, at the end of the year as a tight end. We could find a number 2 receiver that can just let let people know that we will throw it to somebody besides Michael Thomas, kind of free him.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man, honestly, Kamara, I hate to be like this, but he played hurt all last year,
Yep.
day and there. He said on Twitter that he was 75%, most of the year. So if we can get him healthy, and we've had so many heartbreaks in the playoffs, man. I'm just like, even this year, like when it happened, when the quote-unquote push-off happened,
Yeah.
I just left. I just walked out of the room because I'm over it, man. I'm
Back
over
to
these
back.
disappointing losses in the playoffs. And
Oh,
so luckily LSU helped me pull through on that.
yeah, seriously, that's got to be
They
the
did pretty
flip the
good.
field for you, man, because that was terrible. Whatever, I can't bring it back, but yeah, just you don't want to end it. They're just, man, Saints fans. But you guys got your Super Bowl, man, that year with Drew, and that was special, man. And I know you want more, but at least you got one because you probably never
For
thought that was going to
sure,
happen,
for
right?
sure.
Man, some fantastic
Well,
stuff.
yeah.
Louisiana people, man, you love
Feel
your
cool.
sports. I love it, man. There is no,
For sure.
it's a passion like no other.
Yes.
Well, man, this
It's
was
so
great.
nice to talk about other than rodeo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I already know that, man. You got to follow him on Twitter, Robbie. Shane's an avid fan, man. He's easy to follow. He ain't posting
Well,
outlandish
I
stuff.
appreciate it, man.
I freaking can't wait to see you, man. I can't wait to be standing on my patio when you come walking by. Be like, "Hey, we're back. We've done it. We made it through."
Well, hey,
I've
Shane.
never wanted to rodeo worse than I do right now.
Yep.
And I know you do.
Yeah, well, one day at a time.
Yeah.
The only bad thing is I think it's going to be a little longer than what we're wanting. So we're going to have to pace
Yeah.
ourselves.
Keep your head up, man,
I
and
don't, like
be
you said,
vigilant.
I don't see the 100 rule. I don't see the 100 rodeo rule affecting anybody this year.
No.
Well, like anything,
And,
man.
there's a lot of things we gotta think about. Like circuit counts. Like, I mean, there ain't no way I can get to 15 circuit rodeos now with all these being canceled. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a good point you brought up real quick. We were talking about. I was talking to Danny Reagan 2 days ago. With Universal.
Yeah.
And cool guy too. And I want him to do good. And he's a little guy. You know what I mean? He's not one of the billionaires.
Yeah.
And he works very hard. He's worried about his 5 because Tyler. I was supposed to be at Tyler in 2 weeks. They've canceled it.
Yep.
They're going to have to make. I feel like this year. There's 2 things going to have to happen. The banks are going to have to be more lenient on us, and the rodeo powers that be, the carpet as we call it, they're going to have to be lenient on some stuff because this is unforeseen circumstances, territory.
For sure.
With rodeo counts, with these stock contractors that have to have 5, I feel like if you have them in the book, and I think if you were entered in them like a circuit rodeo, I think you should. They're going to have to cut that back.
You got to think, Robbie. The rodeo business, they're already planning on things right now. They're savvy, man, and they know they got to stay ahead of things. And
I believe it.
they got to fill these stands.
We got good leadership, and I think that's the difference. We've got rodeo people doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's why we have a board of Cowboys and stuff like that. And I pray, how are we going to get 8 and 20? We have to have 8 and 20 to be NFR eligible.
Yep.
Where you guys, your money gets you in, but we have to be NFR eligible. I just see it getting waived this year, and I see a forgiveness on that kind of stuff,
I'll give it up to your guys, man. The commissioner at PRCA, man, you got to think that he was a part of CAT during the recession. And if you go back to then, you're thinking like, I don't know how company is going to navigate construction equipment when nobody's building anything. Like, how are you going to navigate that world? And he did, so, it's good that you had, but you have that individual that's here now that has that inclination to understand, the kind of the capacity of what this is and how to kind of navigate
There's
things.
rules and then there's real life.
Yeah. That's a win-win. By no means did we ever want, hey, well, if we go back through some crazy recession, something, and the world comes to a halt, and how do we get it going? Well, we at least got a guy that's lived through it. Yeah. You never thought you'd have to use that, but, well, here we are. And
right.
Should be interesting.
And you're right. At least he is, and hopefully common sense will prevail here,
we'll
some of these rules and stuff. And
I'd hate to be in his position.
Well, man.
So.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
It's tough, man. Yeah, Shane, this was great, man. We're definitely going to have you back on.
You bet.
We got to get you back on. We got Robbie in the studio, man, and we can really kind of talk it up.
You bet. Let's do it. Why don't you come in and talk to us? This year, during the NFR, we have our little trailer out there. We're bringing Shane in there. That'll be so much fun.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. I'd love to be a part of that.
We're all right on, Shane. Well, hey, man, let's.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you for coming on,
We
and
appreciate you listening to us.
yeah, and we'll apologize for not
yeah.
bringing you on earlier, man. We'll make sure we make do for
you're
that.
good, man. For sure. I'm kind of a podcast freak. I listen to quite a bit of podcasts. When
Yeah.
driving or doing stuff.
Well,
I got some favorite ones, so it's pretty cool.
yeah. Well, and hey, man, thanks to Romp and Hambone and those guys. I mean, we need more of this, right? You need more unique podcasts around rodeo and ones that have this that production value touch to it, because it's not easy, man. But damn, we need it. Spreading the rodeo
those
message.
guys they're doing the same thing actually we are right now, Nevada. And Shane, they're actually doing theirs remotely like we are.
Yep.
Really?
Well, Shane,
this has been a blast.
yeah, thank you for coming on, man. I will, I'll be reaching out to you again. I want to bring you back on, and be safe, be healthy, and good luck, man. Get back on that trail.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
good
you.
luck not going to that thing tonight that you're not going to.
Yep, I'm not. No, we're turning around. See ya.
Good luck, man. All right, bye.
Hi, I'm Speed Williams, 8-time world champion team roper, and we're listening to the NFR Extra.
To celebrate the 35th anniversary of the National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas, LVE and PRCA present the top 35 most memorable moments.
Sports fans love a storybook ending, and NFR fans are no exception. Bull rider Cody Hancock has certainly enjoyed his share of Las Vegas magic. First in 2000, when he arrived in Las Vegas as the 15th ranked bull rider in the world. Hancock didn't waste any time getting to work. He won round 1 with a 93-point ride and claimed round 2 with a 90-point ride. He kept chipping away at the top-ranked bull riders in the world, and when he struck again for a win in round 7 and 92 more points, he stood on the brink of history. When round 10 came to a close, Hancock became the first roughstock cowboy to climb from 15th to 1st at the National Finals Rodeo and win a world championship.
This kid rides like a world champion.
Hancock was back in 2001, and while he came up just short in his quest for back-to-back world titles, he did make rodeo history again. Hancock got the best of Diamond G Rodeo's Mr. USA in the 10th and final round and shattered the NFR record with a 96-point bull ride. Nearly 2 decades later, Cody Hancock's 96-point ride still stands.
Hi, this is Derek Stevens. I'm the owner and chief executive officer of the D Las Vegas, and this is NFR Extra.
Hello, NFR fans. Hope you are staying safe and healthy during this time. To listen to more NFR Extra episodes, visit nfrextra.com or wherever you listen to podcasts like Apple, Spotify, iHeart, or even YouTube. And if you're looking for more content, we got a library full of it. It'll keep you entertained. We have NFR highlights, thousands of action photos, many interviews, multiple bloggers, NFR history, and a lot more. Find all that at nfrexperience.com or on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter at Las Vegas NFR.
Hi, I'm Sean Davis, and you're listening to NFR Extra.
And here we are. We got another great guest. The 360 of rodeo, man, the different angles of what people see. This individual definitely covers a few of those angles.
I'd say so.
Yeah. Let's say a voice for radio and a face for TV, man. He works out really well. We are joined by a really talented guy. Welcome to the podcast, Anthony Lucia.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on. It's a breath of fresh air to be able to talk to 2 other individuals that are still staying alive and keeping everything rolling and bringing all the good stories called the NFR Extra fans. So I'm pretty excited.
So, hey, we're talking about a bunch of things, when we get a guest on, and typically our formats change a little bit just because of, the world's changed a little bit right now, so we're adhering to it. But let's talk a little bit about, your importance to, obviously this thing's called NFR Extra, and NFR is the main kind of topic, the main course of this podcast. So could you touch on a little bit what the host of Live with Lucia in Las Vegas, what that that has been, or what, what does it consist of, and what all the things you get to do with it? What's the 2-minute elevator pitch, Anthony?
Yeah. Well, I started in 2008. I made my first. I was part of the NFR in 1994 when my dad, Tommy Lucia, was one of the specialty acts there, and I was able to bring my dad's horse's grass skirt out into the arena during one of the openings, and that was my first taste of the NFR. And from that moment on, I mean, at 9 years old, it's one of the most electric. It's one of the most amazing feelings you'll ever experience. And of course, I helped my dad my whole life. And then obviously I began to trick rope when I was about 9 or 10 years old. I wanted to, venture out and to do some different things and realize, when I told my dad I wanted to be a part of the act, and he said, well, can you ride a dog? And I said, no. He goes, well, then you better think of something different. And so I grew up obviously with Whiplash, and that spurred me to. My dad was an amazing entertainer and just has done so many things in our business. And one of the greatest things that he ever did for me was, well, two things. He taught me to love the Lord, and the other one was he gave me the ability to learn how to be the entertainer. And he was a phenomenal role model, and he's just been my number one impact. He by far easily the number one impact on my life, in every aspect of my life. But so just long story short, in 2008, I was kind of, I didn't really know where my place was in rodeo. I trick roped, and I felt like I was a good trick roper. I hadn't turned professional yet. But I had a desire to be in Las Vegas during the NFR. And I had trick roped outside at the Ram booth a couple years whenever I was younger. And I trained a trick dog one year to do some little acts with me back in the day, when Ram and I think it was Singular or AT&T Wireless, they had their big booth set up out in front of the Thomas and Mack, and I trick roped there and made the front page of the Las Vegas Review doing the Texas skip. I think I was 17 years old, and I still got that newspaper clipping, and it's one of the neatest things. There's all these world champions and great NFR athletes are there, and then all of a sudden this little chubby kid from Texas is on the front page of the newspaper during the NFR, and it kind of lit a fire underneath me that that was Las Vegas is the place I wanted to be, because if you were one of the best in the land, that's where everybody desires to be.
So where did this trick roping stuff though? I mean, there's a lot of talents we're going to dive into what you do, Anthony, but something, it sounds like, this kind of got that everyone gets their foot in the door, and it sounds like the trick roping side got your boot in the door, basically. Is that right?
Yeah, it did. It kind of gave me my own path. My dad, Tommy Lucia, had Whiplash the Cowboy Monkey and created that whole persona and that whole character and everything like that. And then my dad was an amazing animal trainer, and trick roping was kind of my way into where people knew my name instead of just Monkey Boy, or hey, you're Tommy Lucia's son, which I still take great honor in that. But when you're a young man, you don't fully see how awesome that is, and so you want to make your own path. And when I was younger, I asked my dad, I said, I want to be a part of the act in a bigger way. And he goes, well, you know how to ride a dog? And I said, I don't think I can do that. And he goes, well, then you better figure out something different. And so I started trick roping, and I didn't just start trick roping. When I was young, I watched the greats Julio Marino and Jerry Diaz and Max Reynolds and J.W. Stoker and Vince Bruce and all these great entertainers and performers and cowboys like Julio was, and I was just always enamored by ropes. And so I got my very first trick rope when I was 9 years old from a guy in California named David Thornberry. And we used to, when we would work Cotton Roster's run, we would stay at their house in Agora Hills, and Dave trick roped. And I just got the bug, and I just always had a rope in my hand, and I wanted to rope, and then combined that with the amazing entertainer that my dad was. And one of the greatest gifts that he ever gave me was the ability to entertain and to understand that to put yourself in the viewer's perspective. It ain't about you, it's about them. And I just combined that, and I worked my tail off to get good at trick roping and watched the best, and was self-taught with pointers here and there from guys like J.W. Stoker and Tomas Garcia Lazo and the great trick ropers and performers. And So trick roping was my way to get into rodeo more so than I was with, carrying around plastic panels for my dad and whiplash and driving the 4-wheeler and the little trailer. And I got to go to the National Finals Rodeo in 1994, which is the same year that I actually started trick roping. I still have my credential of Baby Anthony. And it was one of the most surreal experiences that I've ever experienced, being able to walk inside the Thomas and Mack and feeling the electricity and just the entire atmosphere and everybody, with goals to be at the very top of their game. And I mean, you guys know as well as I do that if you want to be in rodeo and you want to be on the biggest stage, well, the national finals is that stage. And so I worked my tail off for my dad, and we did private events, and I would announce the private events and trick rope. And we did 45 shows a year for Rodeo Austin for 5 years in a row, and just got better and better and better. And just my dad's motto was hard work always works. And there's no substitute for it. No matter how much talent you have, no matter how good you think you are, you aren't. And to never settle for mediocrity and to just work as hard as you possibly could to be the best. And I'll never say that I was the best trick roper, but I dang sure gave it my all. And I got to trick rope with an NFR 2010 through 2013. Sean Davis was an awesome guy. Let me come in my second year as a professional and do one of the openings, and then they continued to use me for 2 or 3 openings for the next 3 years, I guess, so 4 years total. But and then, I always had a knack for talking. I don't know if you guys could tell that by the fact that you guys haven't spoken a lot.
Yeah, but you know what? Hey, Anthony, I want to interrupt you real quick.
Okay, I'm glad we don't have to.
No, but he's getting ready he's got layers of talent. So like there's this conversation can go a long ways. Let's go back to this trick roping thing. And this is kind of, I like this crossover of what you did. Talk about your experience with this whole, with the America's Got Talent. And the reason why I bring that up is I like anytime rodeo can cross over to the other side to kind of like, let's just call it the non-rodeo side of the universe, right? But the crossover, whenever you can expose things, how was that whole experience, and how was it bringing rodeo to, I mean, a lot of people watch America's Got Talent. That's a big broadcast there. So how was that?
It was such a neat experience, and one that I will never, ever regret being a part of, even though that I learned that America's Got Talent, though it may be called a talent competition, is more of a reality show based upon people's talents, but more so based upon people's stories. And in 2010, when I trick roped at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, I got a call from one of the talent producers, and I went and during the rodeo, I went and auditioned. Well, I thought that was my real audition, but what I didn't realize is that was just your preliminary audition. So I went and auditioned, and of course, then after you do your deal in front of the producers, which you're doing it in a room. There's no stage. You're doing it in this big conference room, and there's about 15 producers there with, their hipster pants on and their jazz.
Oh, wow.
And they're just staring at you blankly because they've been watching auditions for the last 7 hours. Anyways, it was quite a different feel, but my dad, always taught me, he said, whether it's in front of 10 people or 10,000, you give the same performance. So I did my little ditty, and they said, okay, thank you so much for coming in. We'll call you. Well, then they called me, and then it was quite an ordeal, because then I went to I auditioned in Dallas again, like that was my quote unquote real audition. And then Bert Davis, one of Pro Rodeo's great entertainers, was also on that same season. They auditioned in Dallas as well. And then, of course, after you audition and they pass you through to the next round, the Vegas round, then that's when they sit you in the room and they do hours upon hours of interviews and everything like that. And they're always, my dad they're always trying to get stories, right? So they want to get the drama. They want to get the, how does your family feel about you as a person? And so I was like, man, life's been pretty good, other than having to clean up some monkey poop twice a day. And when the dogs throw up in their kennels, I got to wash that out. And that's kind of gross. My dad's pretty hard on me sometimes, but I think I'm better because of it. and they never really found the story that they were looking for, and that they would try to like delve in. Well, okay, tell us about your relationship with your dad. I'm like, I mean, pretty normal for a teenage kid with, 20-year-old young boy with their dad who's, he was 40 when he had me. So, so I mean, he was quite a bit older than me, and of course, I was the smartest individual that's ever lived. Of course, that's what I thought. And it's that my dad always told me, he said, the older you get, the dumber you'll realize that you are. And he wasn't saying that in a bad way. He was saying that in like a learning way. Like when you're young, you think you got everything figured out. And I realized, and I've continued to realize that as I get older, I'm not very smart, and I got a lot to learn. But either way, it was an awesome experience. My dad wasn't real on board with me doing America's Got Talent because they had tried to get him on to do all these different David Lettermans and Jay Leno's and Ellen DeGeneres show with Whiplash the Cowboy Monkey. He was always very cautious because he understood how kind of the Hollywood TV shows they worked, and that was to make the host look great and the guests look however. And especially being cowboys, a lot of people have the misconception that we're just a bunch of dumb hillbillies and rednecks on horses. And so I did the auditions. I made it through and went to Vegas, and it was pretty neat. And it's a bond that Bird and Franny Davis that we will always have, because we were three of us. We were two cowboys and a cowgirl in a group of a lot of different kinds of people, and everybody was nice and it was really good. But there was sure enough a lot of different kinds of people, and it was pretty neat to be able to represent us being cowboys. And we did what we do, and we did what, took us to some of the biggest stages in the rodeo world. But we didn't have the stories to go along with it. So we got nixed in the Vegas round. And to this day, though, it still was such a neat experience. And that was my first real experience, being on TV and being part of big productions and seeing all that. And it really piqued my interest. And it kind of opened up another part of me that I didn't even know that I liked or wanted to be in, and that's television.
What's funny, Anthony, is that when you talk about this, so we had Kenny Pettit on, I want to say midway through we did daily with the podcast broadcasting, and we had Kenny on, and first of all, I gotta tell you, that's probably one of our more popular episodes that we had. And he was talking, well, obviously there's a connection there with Whiplash and whatnot. The interesting thing about your guys is like kind of your craft within the rodeo business. You guys are like connected to everybody, right? Like you obviously know Robbie. I mean, there's so many other people that you guys get to know. And as I'm learning the rodeo business, certain individuals that, man, you guys get to be right in the middle of everything. And it's, I read a lot about you last night, like your bio and your family. And, I'm actually good friends with Tommy Joe. Worked with him a lot. And, so it's just interesting. Your rodeo pedigree, man, is pretty deep, and it comes through the entertainment side. But when did you start rodeoing, as far as like, did you start rodeoing as well as a young guy, or did you start picking up because you're around the business? Because you team roped, right? There's some things that you do as well.
Yeah.
How'd you get into team roping? Was that already something you were doing as young, or?
I figured, no, I didn't actually. I trick roped. Obviously, I started when I was 9 years old, and I started, and I just always loved roping. And I entered my first dummy roping competition that was in conjunction with the Clovis, New Mexico rodeo, and I won second place. And it was I'd never competed before. I was homeschooled my whole life, and we didn't do sports because we were always on the road, and that was my one outlet to compete, was these little dummy ropings that they would have sometimes at these rodeos. And when I won second, and I didn't even know any kind of the basics of roping, I knew that I could handle a rope a little bit. And so I did that dummy roping, and it just, again, it's one of those things. It's like, I love having a rope in my hand, and I want to do whatever I can with it. Well, when I was about 20 years old, I'd been trick roping for 11 years. And I could make a rope do pretty much anything that I wanted to do, make it to do. And if I couldn't, I would work until I could figure out how to do it. And I had started a bunch of young horses. Like I said, my dad was a great animal trainer, and I didn't necessarily want to trick train animals, but I wanted to train young horses and stuff like that. And so if we would have, you know, a couple months home, I would go to the sale barn and buy a couple young, long yearling 2-3-year-old horses, and I would start them, and then I would train them, then I would sell them, and then I would have a little extra money, and then I would buy some more, and that's just kind of a rhythm that I had, a routine rather. And so when I was 20, though, I'm like, man, okay, I know I can ride, I know I can rope, I know I can release trick rope, so I really want to start team roping. And Jake Barnes and Clay O'Brien Cooper, and because I could trick rope, so I would, whenever we'd go to these rodeos, that was kind of if I get all my chores done with my dad, I'd say, Dad, can I go hang out with the team ropers? And he would let me, and I'd go and play games of pig with Kyle Lockett and Jake Barnes and BJ Campbell, and different guys like that. And I didn't know really how to rope the horns, but I could trick rope the heck out of these guys.
Yeah.
And then I'd call any legal. And like if we were roping the dummy, and so I'd do all these tricks, and then I would somehow get it around the neck of the dummy. Well, then they started helping me learn to rope how to rope the horns. And all this happened throughout my childhood, and I probably had one of the neatest childhoods of any kid, and I'm so blessed because of it.
Yeah.
But
man,
when I was
You had a
20,
monkey living with you.
Yeah.
and I knew if I had a rope in my hand, I didn't have to deal with the monkey, and so that was a good thing.
Yeah.
And when I was 20, I wanted to learn how to team rope, and I told my dad, I said, I'd like to learn how to team rope. And he said, okay, well, let me call this guy that I know from around here that lives close to us. And I'm like, well, who is he? He said, a guy named Al Bach. And I'm like, okay, I've heard of him. He lives close by us. Yeah, he lives about 15 miles from us. Okay. So we got out a phone book, and for all the kids that listen, a phone book is this big, thick book that had yellow and white pages in it with phone numbers and addresses of everyone. It's mind-boggling. It's way before Google and any kind of internet, and it was called a phone book. Look it up. Your library might have one in historical, objects.
It was created about the same time as the Bible, I believe, right? It came out about the same time the Bible did, right, Anthony?
That's when I figured out I was famous. I was in the phone book.
Did you have your ad in there? The yellow pages?
Yes, hire me cheap. Hey, I don't have it, but right now with all this mess going on, I'm putting it back in there tomorrow.
There you go. There you go. There you go. But Dad's Alan Bach, and Alan hooked us up with a guy named Justin Parrish, and we went to Justin's house, and he had a horse that had been a ranch horse, and they just barely started heading on him, and so his name was Peanut. I bought it with money that I had made from buying and selling colts, and that's one thing my dad believed in was nothing is ever given, everything is earned. And my dad, other than knowledge and wisdom and quite a few butt whoopings, he didn't give me anything financially, but he gave me a lot of wisdom to be able to make my own money and figure out how to do things, and for that I'm forever grateful. But so I bought Peanut, and then that turned into me getting roped with Patrick Smith, and then I started going over to Al's, and I realized that I had a little bit of talent, and then I started competing professionally and had a little bit of success, tried to balance that with trick roping and everything else, and it's just been and then all that led into the latter part of my story, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I think. Just looking at and understanding, like I said, I know Tommy Joe, and I get your guys' kind of connection, and reading your dad's bio, man. I mean, my God, he was embedded in rodeo, like because you. Yeah, I mean, when you're in the middle of all that stuff, I mean, look at the names you rattled off with. So when you decide, right, that, I want to start team roping, look who you get access to. What I mean?
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, super blessed, man. That's awesome. I mean, as I look at the rest of your career, one of the things I want to jump into, because let's switch into your I know you started talking about it, but like your hosting, your being in front of the camera, right? But also announcing. Yeah. You do one that, and I'm sure Robbie, you can touch on this. And it looks like the information I get, I'm always trying to, hopefully it's current, but, Roger Mooney talked about this one, but the world's toughest rodeo tour. What could you talk a little bit? I mean, obviously this is what you do a lot about that, but you touch on that event. Like that's a pretty interesting event, as I've learned from Mooney, and kind of what it means to rodeo. And
so I trick roped And then my dad had always told me, he said, trick roping is great right now. He said, but specialty acts, unfortunately, are dying. And, that kind of specified act where people hire you just to come entertain, like rodeos, they're growing in faster pace. And for whatever reason, specialty acts are fading away. And so he said that, not every rodeo needs a specialty act. So I'd announced some different private events for my dad and done some back when it was Tommy Joe. It was the Ariat Pro Rodeo Tour Zone and the Ariat playoffs way back in the day in 2007, 2008. Tommy Joe actually hired me because he knew I had a bit of a gift for gab, and he hired me to host these little fan zones. And so I would host these fan zones at Puyallup, Caldwell, Omaha, and Dallas. I did it for 2 years, and it really taught me how to speak to people and just basically talk about all these sponsors that were in the fan zones without it sounding like a commercial, but more in conversation. And that's something that great announcers have the ability to do, is convey that I can convey my love for Justin Boots, not by telling you that they're a standard of the West and they're made in America and all this. I can tell you that I love Justin Boots and cinch jeans because I wear them every day, and they are a part of my lifestyle. That's my uniform. It makes up who I am. Anyways, not going to get off on that tangent, but with announcing, I asked my dad, I said, okay,
that's a talent, man. That's a talent.
Well, I asked my dad, I said, do you think I'd be a good announcer? He said, Anthony, I've been friends with Bob Tallman for 40 years. He said, you talk a lot. None of it makes any sense. So, yes, I think you would be a great rodeo announcer.
He didn't ask if you were going to ride a dog while you were announcing?
No. I didn't. That ship sailed when I was about 13, and my baby fat never left. And anyway, so I started announcing some amateur rodeos, and then I got my professional endorsement in 2011, and in 2012, probably before I was even ready, Tommy Joe, once again, besides my dad, Tommy Joe has just been such an instrumental force in my life, a force of keeping me straight, a force of wisdom, and just teaching me so much about our business and how to appeal to people and to, once again, it's just a derivative of my dad, and not take yourself out of the equation, because it's about our fans. Plain and simple, it's about the fans. It's about the fans and the athletes that are in the arena. We are there to make them better and make the entire production of the show better. And Tommy Joe hired me in 2012, and Raleigh, North Carolina was my very first one. And it was the world's toughest rodeo, and it's bull riding, bareback riding, saddle bronc riding, mutton busting. I believe we had bullfighting then, and of course the ladies of the barrel race. And they were phenomenal events. And there's such anytime you work with Tommy Joe in Nevada, and Robbie both, you can attest to this, there's such a high level of production.
Yep.
So it's not going to a West Texas rodeo out in the middle of a pasture, with a few fans that are there just to socialize and not. This is a high-paced, highly choreographed pyrotechnics in the opening
concert.
Yeah.
It's a concert.
Well, it's a concert with no singer. The artists are the animal athletes and the cowboys and cowgirls, and so it was such an eye-opening experience, and that got me in my start. It gave me a taste of the big leagues, and from there I was able to get some other really great rodeos, but the world's toughest rodeos, and Roger, growing up going to those events, once again the connection. Yep. Roger, golly, that guy was a god to me, obviously with a lowercase g, but he was a god to me. The way he could do things, and the way he dealt with audiences, and his theatrical, style and everything. And whenever I first started announcing, my goodness, I was a mix between, at least I thought I was, or tried to be, Tallman, Boyd, Roger, Randy, Hadley, and Justin McKee. And I didn't know who Anthony was. And, but all of those guys that I just mentioned were so influential in my announcing, not necessarily what they told me, but the way that they, again, their styles and who they were as announcers. And all of that has transformed. And Liesl Harris, rest his soul, one of the greatest advice he ever gave me was my very first pro rodeo, which was in 2013, with Liesel. And after the event, he called me to his van and he said, "Anthony, you did a good job tonight, but I heard some Roger, heard some Boyd, heard some Randy, heard some Tallman, and every once in a while I heard Anthony, and that's the one that I really liked." And from that day on, I worked and tried to refine my own and find my own style. And thankfully now I feel like I've settled in and I found it, and it's just led me to so many different neat things. And then the television stuff and Live with Lucia, my talk show there in Las Vegas. And it's so neat what God has done in my life. And when I talk about it, it really,
man,
almost befuddling when I'm able to tell my and shoot, I've not even told my whole story, but time permitting, being able to share that with you guys is pretty neat, because it really brings everything to perspective of how
it does.
Absolutely.
And I've watched you. I've seen you from when you were 11 years old, 12 years old.
Yeah.
We used to do the Cowboy tour deals, and to watch you grow up into this, and then to get to work with you, and now at the level we're at now, doing the velocities and the ride path stuff and everything. It's a great success story. You know what I really love to hear, though, about this whole conversation right now is the love of your dad and the respect of such a showman. He was hard on you. Everybody knows that. I mean, and I'm not knocking that. Good gosh, we need that more in the world right now.
It helps.
But you still contribute that toughness, and you still contribute that the way you are is due to him. And then once he was older and maybe not as strong on you, here comes Tommy Joe. Tommy Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Tommy Joe's an old hard ass, too.
Hell yeah, he is. I worked with him for 5 years. Hell yes, he is. In a good way.
But you know what? Both of those guys, to me, and this isn't my interview, but I got to tell you, because you're one of my best friends. Both of those guys demanded nothing but everything you had. That's what they wanted. They didn't want anything special. That's what they demanded of you. And when you go to work with Tommy Joe, you want to be a pro. When you work around your dad.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I mean, they wouldn't settle. That was my.
He didn't expect anything less. I mean, and if you did, you had to deal with it.
And you know where that comes from, Robbie, and that's I'm thankful that you brought that up. Where that comes from, it goes back to, it's about the audience. Dad wanted to give 1,000% every time he stepped in that arena for the audience and the committee that believed in him, that was paying their hard-earned, whether they raised it or whether it was given by a sponsor. Either way, it didn't matter to Dad. The least we can do as entertainers and as performers is give everything we have every time we step into that arena, because every one of those audience members deserves it.
Yep.
And we owe it to not only them, but to ourselves to not half-ass anything and never, ever, ever settle for mediocrity, and to continue to push the limits and never get into a place of complacency or anything like that. And continue. Yeah. And never stop trying to get better. Yeah, you've got something that works. Okay, there's always something better. And that's been my entire life because of my dad and my brother.
I want to add some of that,
and
Anthony.
Right now,
yeah, hey, hold on, Robbie. I'm going to add this because I worked with Tommy Joe, from 99 to 2004, I want to say, with PBR. And, we helped produce his in-house show at the time. This is before PBR went TV and went, public. And so everything, Tommy Joe, everything he did back then, and this is what I loved about events back then before they had, become all, and I'm not knocking PBR, I love PBR. But I just, back then, what I'm talking about, Anthony, it was very private, very, Tommy Joe and whoever was running the show, called a lot of shots. And anyway, our preparation for him, we'd always be preparing about good 6-7 months out from Las Vegas and what we were going to do for the finals. And to Robbie's point, I never wanted to let Tommy down, and I could tell, as you're talking, worked with Tommy forever, I can see, man. And I'm big on parenting, right? I love the whole family aspect, and whether Pops was hard on you or not, man, if he's consistently in your life and trying to provide direction and guidance, I know that, I do the same thing. But when I work with Tommy, I could feel that, and he always constantly was working on the finals in a way that, maybe people wouldn't agree with, but it's because of the vision and driving and being consistent with it. I mean, dude, at the end of the day, man, I mean, I know Tommy now meeting you. Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, you're appreciative of it.
Piss you off.
Yeah, not at all.
Well, in the moment, sometimes it can seem like a lot. There was times where he would come up to me, when I first started announcing the World's Toughest Events, he would come up to me at a section break and just rip me a new one. But I'm going to tell you what the reason it was, and it wasn't necessarily because he was just being a jerk. It was because, hey man, step up. I know you got it in you. And I still to this day think Tommy Joe and even guys like Sean Davis, they were guys that they could do it without necessarily hurting your feelings, because you were like, you know what, you're right, I can. It was because their belief in you. Yeah. It wasn't to get mad at you. It wasn't to make you feel like crap. It was because their belief in you. Hey, I hired you because I think you're one of the best. Now live up to that.
Yeah.
And there's a certain group of guys that can really pull that out of people, and still be in those managerial positions where they understand that, okay, people are going to make mistakes, but pick yourself up and keep moving forward and be better because of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like, Tommy, Anthony, when we're sitting here, there's one person comes to mind with that, and we're so fortunate to get to work with him a lot. It's Richard Jones to me when we're doing those, and what an honor. And you want to do good for Richard. And I got to say this, Nevada, working with Anthony at all the double ups, which I've been there 10 times already this year with him. It is so nice to have a group of people that want to help you succeed. And it makes you want to do. We have the best group of people over there at that Velocity Tour. Everybody, our goal, just like, and your dad would be so damn proud of that and the way that is run, and the way, because he demanded perfection, or he didn't demand perfection, he demanded the best you could do, and he would give you everything you need to do it. And I see that, and I think that's why you're so comfortable over there and your success with what's going on over there with us, and when we work together. And I think it's tripled your ability, even being over there, and what you do, and your off the cuff stuff, and how hard you work, because you were out of a showman, and your dad was such a showman, and what an honor to know that guy.
Richard Jones has done a phenomenal job at the PBR, but there's so many people in our business, our rodeo industry, that whether it's the Justin Rumfords, the John Harrisons, the Joe Franzens, the other rodeo announcers, there's so many people that want the production to be at a high level, and they call people to be at their best. And we are so fortunate in our industry that we have such good people. And people may think I'm biased. You know what? Sure, I'll be biased, because I absolutely love this family that is rodeo, this family that is sports, this family, whether it's PBR, whether it's PRCA, whether it's WCRA, we are so fortunate to be involved in all these different kinds of events, because when it comes down to it, through and through, why are we all doing this? Because we love being a cowboy, or we love this lifestyle, we love being around animals, we love horses, and what we do is so important to our entire society, keeping America's original sport of rodeo alive and promoting it and propelling it into the future. And that, to me, is an honor that I do not take lightly.
I don't either. And I've always said this, and it means more now, even being in that situation where I'm doing the double ups, and I get in there with y'all one week, and then we'll be the next. You look at Southwest Airlines or Delta or anywhere, okay? You have two pilots that may or may not know each other. They may or may not like each other. But they can get in that airplane, and they can fly that airplane with one goal in mind, and that is protect the people who are behind them. Just like our jobs are to entertain those people that are around us. And that's what, working around you and working around stuff like that. And I think, and right back to your dad, at the end of the day, as hateful or mean, or you know what he was, heck, he was old hateful, but we loved that guy. But he wasn't mean. He demanded your respect. And I admired that so much of him. And I aggravated him. I'd tell him he had to move his bus 3 feet just to hear him raise hell. But you know what? He'd laugh about it. But when you went in that arena, it was this magic. And it was, I mean, you know, he had a monkey riding a flipping dog. How is that not cool?
Well,
he had not one but 2 swayback horses. How the hell do you get 2 of them? You know? Where did he get 2 swayback horses?
Well, when he had this first swayback horse, some people from Arizona seen him perform at Prescott, and they called him while he still had his other black horse, and they said, "Hey, we just had a colt out of one of our good studs. Little black colt was born literally a week ago. Well, it would have been that spring, and he's got a swayback, and we've got no use for him. We obviously know that you are a lover of things that the world judges too quickly and can bring out amazing things in that animal. So would you be interested in this horse?" So Dad actually, that was a God deal completely. So it was pretty neat. But my dad was from the school of respect is earned. It's not just given. Absolutely. And when respect is earned, and you know, the guys like Neil Gay, and I'm sure Kenny talked a lot about Neil Gay, but those legends, guys like, you know, the Benny Butlers, the Harry Voles, the Hadley Barretts, that school of people, the Wick Pests, the Rob Smetzes, you know, those guys that it was such a different time when they were coming up, and without social media and all this fluff that has entered into our society. And it was action speaks louder than words, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Honor.
That was it.
Honor.
Hey, Anthony, you know what's funny? You bring up Kenny and Mr. Gay. Man, on the episode we have, you know, there's a bit, right, Robbie, that he talks about where I don't know what he did something wrong or messed up and something. And Mr. Gay was waiting for him. You know, it was like the next day, and he was sitting on the porch with lemonade. He was like, "Have a seat," like, and just the whole story, you can feel it, right? I'm like, oh.
He thought Neil was fixing the mountain.
Yeah.
You know?
But the way Kenny talked about it, and I tell you, I think about this too. You know, talk about your dad and talk about Mr. Gay. These guys come from a different time, man. They come from, you know, coming out of World War II when things were different, you know, and you needed to be disciplined to hold the line. And, you know, none of this guy's talking right now. None of us came up in that world, you know, and we've seen it and we've had a little bit of it.
Sugar back then.
Yeah.
Feelings didn't matter.
No, man, it was a way different universe than the one we live in today.
Well,
so
even Dad was raised on the streets of Minneapolis. I mean, and he had a paper run, and the first animals he ever trained was 2 German Shepherds to protect his mom so that she didn't get mugged on her way to and from work. And I mean, we can talk about my dad for hours, but you know, there's certain people in our business that continue to maintain that level of precedence, and one of my goals is to my yes means yes and my no means no. And if there's an issue, we can talk about it. That doesn't mean I don't like you. Hell, Robbie and I have had conversations. A couple 3 years ago, we were going to a rodeo, and we had a full-on heart-to-heart. And I was honest with him, and he was honest with me, and my goodness, we were better friends because of it.
Yep.
It wasn't comfortable at all times.
Yeah.
But we were better because of it. And if more people would do that, I truly believe that our world would be a better place. And just, my goodness, say what's on your mind.
Close to friends. I think we've got to be as close to friends because of a stupid disagreement.
Yeah.
And, you know, and now look. Well, I mean, now we get to work every week, and I smile every time I'm getting on an airplane. I love getting on an airplane to come to you guys, you know, with you there, and, you know, and Colby and Luke and, you know, and Richard and Nard. Golly. And
anytime I get to go, I get to go to Del Rio and announce Del Rio here in another month, hopefully. It's still scheduled, but that is one of the neatest events to announce that pro or extreme bowls of the PRCA, and I'm so excited to go to it just because I get to work with Rafter G, and Sosby will be there, and Casey Harp with the screens, and they'll be running it, and Fred Betcher will come down, and I can't stress enough that how thankful I am. And
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, with this whole deal going on in our country and the coronavirus and the quarantining and everything like that, will never, and if I ever do around you, Nevada or Robbie, if I ever complain about anything else at an event, if I'm at an event doing what I love, whether it be announcing or whether it be covering television or competing, I give you full permission to kick me square in the place that's going to hurt me the most. Because I've been
me
craving. And I'm only a week removed from going to one event.
Yep.
And I cannot express how I literally text my entire TV team. We were supposed to be at an event in Dayton, Ohio. I text my entire TV team on Saturday about 3 o'clock when we'd normally be having our pre-production meeting. And I said, I just want you guys to know I miss you.
I know. I'm the same way. I called them.
Yeah. So what are you doing right now with your time, and what are you, because we've had a little bit of time to think about it. So what are you kind of planning? What are you doing right now, or what are you going to do?
Again, I don't, I'm not going to get complacent, and I'm getting to play golf a little bit, which is fun being home. And, my buddies who have normal jobs who play golf every day, kind of fun getting to hang out with them a little bit, obviously in groups under 10. But I'll be honest, and this is going to sound dumb, and there's probably going to be people make fun of me for this. I'm rewatching all the television broadcasts that I've done this year.
Nice.
And I'm critiquing myself and making notes so that when I come back, I'm better than I was. And, I announced the PRCA First Frontier Circuit Finals, and I'm watching the videos from the openings that we did, critiquing what I could have been, how I could have been tighter here, where I could have gotten a little more umph here, because I don't want to, I have full belief that our industry, the entertainment industry, the sporting industry is going to come back bigger, better, and badder than ever. And I believe that. And I'm not, until there's a coffin, a roof over my head and I'm buried in the ground, I'm going to always believe that we as Cowboys, and especially in our Western industry, we will thrive, and we will, because we don't give up easily, and we will not go softly into the night.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been doing, and I get to spend more time with my wife. I got married last May, and that's been fun and also trying, because she's not used to me being home this much. She normally has 3 or 4 days a week to clean up the messes that I make, and then I come back and the house is spotless.
I hear you on that.
Going on day 12 with no travel, and I'm still kicking, and she still loves me, so we're good.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Krista up in Montgomery. I'm picking Krista up at 8:30 in the morning, and she's going to be with me for about a week and a half. I may need to come live with you. There's no and that's what people take for granted, is actually living with the ones they love, because they married us because we're fun for the weekend, like a Corvette in Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, man. Hey, Anthony, we've ran our course, man. We got to run, but I got to tell you, man, we got to bring you back on the show. This is fun, man. Anytime we get someone on here that loves to talk, man, this is what we need when we get on the podcast.
I'd love to come back and talk about Live with Lucia. That's at the Rio. And that's my talk show during the national finals, and then the different stuff that I get to do at the Hui parties at the Brooklyn Bowl and all that jazz. And the NFR is the busiest, funnest time of the year for me, and it's because of everything that NFRC does and LVE, and it's just an awesome, it's the best 14 days of the year, and so I'd love to come back and talk about NFR stuff. And I enjoy you guys.
Well, and the way that'll work too, here, real quick, Anthony.
I just want to go to a rodeo. I want to go to a rodeo or a PBR where you're at, and we're going to look at each other and go, we're here.
Hey, Anthony, though, here's one of the things to think about. So, one of the things that we do with the podcast last year, and we're obviously going to definitely focus on it this year, is we bring a lot of the guests on that are preparing for the NFR. So around fall, September, October-ish, even November, we bring you all back on, and you can lay down, man, I got this going on. I'm going to be over here. We want you to, I'm going to be all over Vegas. We want everyone to know that. So, plan on coming back, man.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Cool.
Well, I appreciate it, and y'all keep doing what you're doing, and I appreciate anybody who's doing a Western-based podcast is doing something good, in my opinion. So y'all keep doing what you're doing,
Well,
I hope I get to meet you someday in person, and I appreciate Brylan.
Yeah.
Third member, very important member of your team.
Absolutely.
She is the unsung hero.
Yep.
She's the unsung hero of NFR Extra. And Roberto, keep your crap together.
You got it. You cool son of a gun. I'll see you soon, all right?
All right, Anthony, man.
I'll see you here.
Be safe and healthy.
If the little kids rodeo, call me.
All right, man.
Okay.
Bye.
Y'all.
Thanks for listening to the NFR Extra podcast. Join us on the next episode when we got Caleb Schmidt and Brett Beach. And make sure to give us a rating and review on wherever you listen to NFR Extra.
For more information regarding the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, visit NFRexperience.com and follow Las Vegas NFR on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube.
NFR Extra.
All dirt.
All rodeo. All year.
Gotta make it out to Vegas, where the big boys roam, with the rovers and the racers and the bulls and the broncs, and the ladies in the skin-tight wranglers and the cowboy hats.